for a savior she prayed would come.
But never did.
Then,
William! Oh my god, he's back! He didn't abandon her after all.
a sudden clatter at the window. Moonlight was swallowed by a dark shape as William the Puckwudgie appeared.
Ilvermorny, the American wizarding school. Like, I want to know the history of that. I want to know what exactly is the difference between Hogwarts and Ilvermorny. So anyway, we're going to do the Spellbook Chronicles one more time. This is Ilvermorny, the complete history from the Gaunts to America's Hogwarts. I want to see what this is like. I want to see kind of what we're looking at here. So anyway, I will link him in the description of my video on YouTube. While you're there, definitely subscribe to me. And let's see what we got.
Well, well, well. Happy Halloween, my dear wizards, witches, muggles, and squibs.
It is not Halloween, but sure.
And what story
Well, not Halloween for me.
could I share with you today about one of the most American festivities of all? Well, not quite as American as you might think. Halloween, dear viewers, began in Ireland as the festival of Samhain. Ancient Celtic wizards knew that at this time of year, the veil between the living and the dead grew thin. Even the oldest spirits could return for one night. Oh, and by the way, I would even dare to wish Happy Death Day to Sir Nicholas. From the Emerald Isle, Irish witches and wizards carried their traditions to the United States, where, in the 19th century, carved turnips became pumpkins. But Halloween was not the only thing that crossed the seas. What if I told you that Salazar Slytherin's wand, one of the most powerful ever crafted, met the very same fate? Indeed, and this tale, though it begins in Ireland...
Hold on. Whoa. Back that up.
The Emerald Isle, Irish witches and wizards carried their traditions to the United States, where, in the 19th century, carved turnips became pumpkins. But Halloween was not the only thing that crossed the seas. What if I told you that Salazar Slytherin's wand, one of the most powerful ever crafted, met the very same fate?
So Salazar Slytherin's wand is in America now?
Indeed, and this tale...
I hope it's just like one of the various magical artifacts in the headmaster's office at Ilvermorny.
Though it begins in Ireland, maybe...
Because, like, Dumbledore had a bunch of magical artifacts in his shit, so, like,
the most American story ever told here on the Spellbook
Okay, alright. Harry Potter with guns. Love it.
Chronicles. The story of Isolde Sayre and the founding of Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. But before we begin, Thunderbird, Wampus, Horned Serpent, or Puckwudgie?
What? Thunderbird, Wampus, Horned Serpent, and Puckwudgie. What the fuck? Alright, okay. Based on the names, I'm gonna go Thunderbird, because I don't know what the other... Oh, man, I don't know what the other ones are.
Thunderbird, Wampus, Horned Serpent, or Puckwudgie?
Okay.
Which Ilvermorny house do you claim or wish you did? Tell me in the comments, and happy Halloween.
Probably not the right one, but Thunderbird, definitely.
The 16th century.
Okay.
The dawn of a new era. Yet the shadow of the past still loomed over the European continent. The Middle Ages had faded, leaving behind a world torn between faith and reason, between emerging science and ancient superstition. And in the midst of this turmoil...
Okay, so this tells me that Ilvermorny was founded... So Hogwarts is older, probably, because the Middle Ages are faded, and that's like the 13th, 14th century, right? So, alright, so that means this is around 1400. Merlin does exist in this timeline, and all the founders of Hogwarts are probably dead already.
The Muggles had attempted the impossible, to smother magic with the fire and iron of the Inquisition. But magic would not...
This is my problem. This is why I side with Grindelwald. I'm gonna be honest, it's very dangerous. His whole greater good ideology is very dangerous because, listen...
Yield. It could not be burned, nor banished. Their failure only deepened the rift between the two worlds, fueling the resentment and distrust that wizards harbored towards those devoid of magical power. It was in this turbulent era The two sisters were born and raised in Ireland, bound by a formidable bloodline. Gormla and Rhionac belonged to the
Gormloth and Rhionac. Gormloth and Rhionac, okay.
Irish branch of the noble house of Gaunt, one of the sacred 28.
All right.
A family once among the most powerful.
That's a silver snake. Boy, I need to cover. They missed a golden opportunity with Fantastic Beasts, man. We could have met all these things.
In the wizarding world, and now standing at the dawn of its decline. They were direct descendants of Salazar Slytherin himself.
Yeah, okay, all right, fair.
One of the 4 founders
Who was a descendant of Medusa, just saying.
of Hogwarts
That's why they can talk to snakes.
School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, whose wand was held as their most sacred heirloom, believed to be
Okay, so that's why it's over there. Believed to be second in power only to the Elder Wand. That's what I hear.
second
yes.
in power only
Also, it's the only one that I know of that won't change allegiances.
to the Elder Wand. Just as other branches of the family had inherited Slytherin's treasured locket, the Irish line had preserved his remarkable wand, an artifact the great wizard had fashioned with his own hands, made of snakewood and containing a fragment of a magical serpent's horn, a basilisk's in this case.
Yes.
Its most extraordinary feature, however, lay in an ability that, according to legend, Slytherin himself had bestowed upon it. The power to slumber and awaken only at its master's command.
Well, it's not according to legend. He did that. Yeah, he can speak to his wand because he also used snakewood.
To rouse it, one had to speak in Parseltongue, that rare gift which allowed a wizard to commune with serpents, passed down through the veins of Slytherin's bloodline.
I would imagine many of the people from his bloodline can probably speak Parseltongue, right?
And so, this object was said to belong by right to the one deemed worthy to carry the Gaunt legacy.
Okay.
The one who would uphold the old traditions, hatred and rejection of muggles above all. The one who would not fail their ancestors.
Okay, so I'm taking it this is probably the Horned Serpent House.
Thus, the prodigious wand came into the hands of young Gormla, a witch of remarkable talent.
So she can speak Parseltongue then? Okay. That doesn't look... Okay.
Keen of wit and ruthless of spirit.
Gormla.
Now on the brink of her education at Hogwarts, she was seen by her parents as the rightful heir to their dynasty.
Remember.
The one who might, perhaps, restore the House of Gaunt to its former glory.
You are the heir.
As expected, both Gormla and Rhionac were sorted
So Gormlath and Rhionac are both girls then, or?
into Slytherin at Hogwarts.
Because Gormlaith is the one that they're talking about. She's the one that got it.
Yet, despite their strong sisterly bond, this was not enough to bring them closer. On the contrary,
Also, why are they at Hogwarts though?
as the years went by, they grew ever more distant from one another.
Oh.
Gormla embodied the purest form of Slytherin ideology, unwavering in her convictions. Rhionac, too, possessed the defining traits of their house, yet her view of the world was far more progressive. She believed that, though Muggles lacked magic, they nonetheless possessed qualities of equal worth. A
Oh, shit. Heir of Slytherin, indeed.
perspective not unlike that of another renowned Slytherin, who, in his own way, had once been guided by a mentor, whose teachings would later become the very foundation of the Gaunt ideology. Merlin.
God damn right. Fuck yeah, I knew he'd be part of this. Okay, so Merlin is one of the people that probably helped to create Ilvermorny. Which in that case, I might end up ranking the school higher than Hogwarts. I'm not gonna lie. They might actually just be better.
Gormla became precisely what she had been raised to be, the matriarch of the House of
Yes.
Gaunt. Rhionac,
I'm so invested, dude. I'm locked the fuck in. Definitely subscribe.
however, chose a different path. She distanced herself from her kin, who favored marriages between blood relatives in order to preserve the purity of their lineage, and instead wed William Sayer, an Irish pure-blood wizard. William was said to descend from the great Celtic witch Morrigan.
Oh my god. The Morrigan.
A formidable figure, renowned for her power and for being an
So in the game Smite, she's like a god.
animagus, capable of taking the form of a crow. The two made their home at Ilvermorny Cottage, William's ancestral dwelling in
Just a crow? Not even a raven? Just a crow? Pfft, weak.
Cumlucra, nestled among Ireland's glacial lakes and towering
I'm not sure when they got a metal roof, but sure.
mountains, a place of rare serenity, far removed from the shadows of the gaunt name. And there, in the year 1603, their love found its truest expression. A daughter was born, the young Isolde.
The young Isolde. Isolde Gaunt. Alright.
The child grew up surrounded by love, learning from
Surrounded by love as the lineage of Slytherin and the Morrigan. Are you kidding me, the strength of this child?
her parents a profound appreciation for nature and the most ancient, essential forms of magic, those entwined with the elements and the primordial forces of the world.
Yeah, well, I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine that's exactly what she learned.
Her natural talent and curiosity for the magical arts did not go unnoticed.
I bet.
And her father, amused by the resemblance he saw between his daughter and her legendary ancestor, began affectionately calling her Morrigan.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
During
Listen, it's entirely possible that the Morrigan just reincarnated herself as this little girl.
those years, Rhionac and William devoted themselves to aiding the nearby Muggle families. Often, these villages fell prey to illnesses then considered incurable. The witch spared no effort, crafting remedies both magical and practical for humans and livestock alike. One might say the Sayers lived a happy life. Yet fate has a way of taking unexpected turns.
Yeah. Listen, you're a witch, and for that you must be burned at the stake.
Sometimes far too cruel.
Look, I'm not the one that said it. Jesus said you gotta go, so...
It was a day
Apparently he's the only one that's allowed to do magic and stuff, but we call it miracles, so like it doesn't count.
like any other when an unexpected visitor arrived, carried on the biting winter wind to Ilvermorny Cottage. Gormla Gaunt had heard whispers. Her little sister,
She's got the snake ring, too.
Rhionac, was now the mother of a pure-blooded witch,
Aw.
a child whose power could hardly be underestimated, given her Gaunt lineage.
Oh.
Gormla addressed her sister with a measured firmness, reminding her that, as matriarch, it was both her duty and her right to ensure that Slytherin's descendants remained within the family, raised according to their customs and traditions.
You can fuck right off, Gormlaith.
When the time came for Isolde to attend Hogwarts, she would be placed under her custody. Rhionac, however, returned her sister's stare with a calm, unyielding smile. Let her attempt it, if she dared. Come the hour, she would not surrender her little girl. It was then, beyond the firmness of those words, that something truly sinister caught Lady Gaunt's eye, cutting through her composure like a dagger.
Which one?
Isolde was playing with a child, a Muggle child. The realization struck her like a curse, cold and inexorable. As she
Yeah, we don't give a shit what your traditions are, alright? She can hang out with Muggles if she wants.
pieced together the truth, the bond Rhionac and her husband had forged with the Muggles of the nearby villages, the way they were raising Isolde to embrace complete tolerance towards that wretched race. Gormla knew, with chilling certainty, a drastic decision was required. The
Don't tell me she's about to kill somebody.
most drastic of all. At first, there was only a distant crackling, like dry leaves crushed underfoot in the darkness. Then came the acrid scent, carried on the wind. The night was ablaze with fire and blood, the beginning of a new, merciless chapter. Gormla's hatred had ignited into violent flames, consuming Ilvermorny Cottage until nothing remained
Did she burn her sister alive or just burn her house down?
but ash. The disgrace her sister had brought upon their bloodline could not be allowed to spread any further.
No.
This betrayal had cost Rhionac and her husband their lives.
No.
Never would Gormla allow her niece to know affection, let alone love, for a wretched Muggle creature. Isolde would belong to her, and to her alone.
Oh, no.
And so, the unfortunate little girl clung to the belief that her aunt had saved her from the fire that had claimed her parents. A truth far removed.
Series of unfortunate events, man. Damn it.
Moved from reality.
It's over.
Lady Gaunt took her to the shadowed valley of Cumhalley, known among the locals as the Hag's Glen, where isolation and obedience were imposed through the unyielding grip of potent...
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I can... I don't know why it looks like God's jerking off in that. Like, here's his hand, here's his balls, and anyway. I didn't design the clouds like that, man. Or it looks like Yoshi and then maybe Mario Kart. So I don't know.
Dark magic.
What was I say? I don't remember anymore.
Beneath her aunt's relentless will, the young girl grew in silence, a prisoner of both body and mind. From the earliest days, Isolde learned the bitter truth. Defiance invited suffering, and Lady Gaunt spared no lesson in ensuring the girl never forgot it. She was forced to witness curses and jinxes hurled upon any wandering creature, or filthy muggle, that dared approach the cottage. Fear rippled through the nearby village, and the locals learned swiftly to keep their distance. The only contact Isolde had with the outside world came from cruel village boys who pelted her with stones whenever she dared venture into the garden.
That's not her. That is directly her aunt's fault for making them the bad guys. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Under her aunt's relentless tutelage, Isolde was schooled in the dark arts. By the age of 10, she had already mastered the use of the 3 unforgivable curses, still, at that time, legal under wizarding law. Every lesson was a test of will and skill. Every failure met with punishment. Every success a reminder of the power and fear that would shape her future. When the girl turned 11, a letter arrived, an invitation to Hogwarts, the school her parents had dreamed she would one day attend. But her aunt would hear none of it. She tore the letter apart, forbidding Isolde from setting foot
in the same place she learned how to use her fucking magic?
In what she called a dangerously egalitarian establishment, crawling with mudbloods.
Oh, it's because they don't share her ideology and they're stronger than her and she can't do anything about it. Ah, okay.
No niece of hers would be exposed to such corruption. Instead, Isolde would learn magic the way a true heir of Slytherin should. Often, Gormla spoke of the school, but only to disparage it, lamenting the shameful abandonment of their ancestors' grand vision for the purity of wizardkind. Yet, despite her aunt's disdain, these tales had the opposite effect on Isolde. To a girl who had known nothing but isolation and cruelty, Hogwarts became a distant dream, a sanctuary of learning and camaraderie, far removed from the cold, suffocating existence she endured. She clung to the idea of the castle like a lifeline. Her teenage years were spent imagining its majestic towers, its enchanted halls, and the freedom she would never know. Yet even as she dreamed of those distant spires and glittering corridors, a faint unease tugged at her. Small inconsistencies in her aunt's stories, the coldness behind every lesson, the shadows that lingered.
Yeah, she's gonna learn.
In the corners of the cottage.
And then she's gonna kill her aunt and take the wand, right?
Little by little, small details began to surface. The harrowing truth, once suffocated, now screamed in Isolde's mind, growing louder with each passing day. The truth, once veiled by childhood naivety, became impossible to ignore. Her aunt was not a savior, but a captor.
Of course.
The woman who claimed the title of guardian was, in truth, the murderer of her parents.
Also, listen, she might be her aunt, but that doesn't mean she gets to be her guardian.
You lying butcher.
At last, after 12 long winters of darkness...
You telling me that this girl's dad didn't have a family at all, really?
17-year-old Isolde felt it. A call. The call of freedom. Louder and more insistent than ever before. Perhaps at long last, she had grown into the witch she was meant to be.
Hopefully.
Perhaps she was finally strong enough to find the courage that had eluded her for so long. And so, after weeks of careful planning, she slipped away from her aunt's home, determined to leave behind those cursed lands. and with them, the shadows of her tragic past, once and for all.
My sweet Barney.
She carried with her a golden brooch engraved with the Gordian knot,
Okay, what? Okay.
a keepsake that had once belonged to her mother. But she took another, far more dangerous prize, her aunt's wand, the wand of Salazar.
I called it. Took the wand. Also, I imagine the wand being white, so it's funny that it's not.
Slytherin.
Small prize.
She did not know what she held in her hands, nor the legacy it carried. Whether driven by vengeance, destiny, or the irresistible call of her bloodline, she claimed it as her own.
I should go.
In that moment, the gaunt legacy passed fully into her hands.
But unless she can speak parcel tongue, she can't, like, she can't win its allegiance, right?
Though its true weight was still beyond her understanding. Fearing her aunt's formidable tracking abilities and the terrible punishment that would surely follow, Isolde slipped into the night, leaving behind the cursed lands of her childhood and the shadows that had haunted her for 12 long winters. To avoid discovery, she concealed her identity, cutting off all her hair and disguising herself as a Muggle boy.
Oh.
For 5 long
She is Arya Stark.
years, she lived under the assumed identity of Elias Story, an anagram of her true name, always glancing over her shoulder, ever wary of the wrath that might descend at any moment.
Elias Story.
Despite her aunt's relentless pursuit, the young witch managed to evade capture and, at last, secured passage aboard the Mayflower, a merchant
Aboard the fucking Mayflower, bro? What? She came over here in 1492. Really?
known for carrying the first English separatists, now
Yeah.
remembered as the Pilgrims, to the New World. It was the year 1620 when Isolde Sayre set sail for North America, unaware
Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It's 1492, right?
that her journey
Yeah.
would forever alter the fate of the wizarding world on the continent. Upon arriving in America as one of the first European settlers, most of whom were Muggles, the young witch slipped away from the ship and vanished into the surrounding mountains. To her fellow passengers aboard the Mayflower, there was only one plausible conclusion. Elias Story had perished, another victim claimed by the merciless winter, swallowed by the cold, just
Oh no, what will ever become of poor Elias Story?
like so many before him. Isolde abandoned the fledgling colony not only out of fear that Gormla might track her even across the ocean, but also because her time aboard the Mayflower had revealed a harsh truth.
They all hated witches because of Jesus.
A witch would find few, if any, kindred spirits among the Puritans, whose
fair.
eyes were ever wary of the unknown, and whose faith turned even a whisper of magic into sin and damnation. Alone in a foreign and inhospitable land, Isolde realized she was the only witch for hundreds, perhaps
Dog, you gotta stop using that fucking that cloud, man.
thousands of miles. The fragmented education Gormla had grudgingly imparted had left her ignorant of the magical beings and communities that might exist beyond Europe. Yet after weeks of
It's not really her fault though. I mean, she's the literal definition of a sheltered child.
solitude among the mountains, Isolde stumbled upon two magical beings whose very existence had been absent from Gormla's lessons. Creatures so wondrous that they hinted at a hidden magical world she had never dared to imagine. The forest was quiet, but for the whisper of the wind through the towering pines. A flicker of grey caught her eye. A small, humanoid figure with large ears and piercing eyes.
What is that thing? Is that like the American house elf?
A puckwudgie.
A puckwudgie. Okay, so that's what a puckwudgie is. All right. I might want to change. I might want to change my house. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I want to be a Thunderbird anymore. This guy looks like he's like a small Ewok, man.
Native to these lands, distantly related to the European goblin, wary and cunning,
They also seem cooler.
carrying the independent pride of its kind. But before she could approach, a shadow moved with unnatural speed.
What?
The hide behind, a nocturnal forest-dwelling specter capable
The hide behind. My God, dude, what?
of contorting itself behind any object, had seized the Pukwudgie in its talons, poised to strike with deadly precision. Instinctively, Isolde raised her wand.
Okay.
A flash of magic erupted, forcing the specter to recoil into the shadows.
Oh, shit.
Heart hammering, she scooped up the injured Pukwudgie, careful not to underestimate the danger it posed, even in its weakened state. She carried him to her makeshift shelter, tending to his wounds with a mixture of instinct and the rudimentary skill Gormla had taught her. The Pukwudgie, begrudging yet impressed, declared himself bound to her service until he might repay his debt, a humiliation for one so proud, indebted to a young witch in a foreign land where both Pukwudgies and hide-behinds lurked. Isolde, amused by his grumbling and grateful for his company, named him William, after her father, for he refused to reveal his true name, as taboos
Do we end up learning his true? Is it Rumpelstiltskin?
of his kind dictated. Over time, the bond between them grew, nearly unique in the histories of their respective species. William began introducing Isolde to the magical creatures he knew. Together they observed frog-headed hodogs hunting in the undergrowth.
This is the kind of shit that we could have gotten with the Fantastic Beast franchise, man. God damn you, Disney.
Skirmished with a dragonish snallygaster and watched newborn wampus kittens playing in the first light of dawn. Yet the creature that
And a wampus is a fuck me, man. All right, Thunderbirds, cats, Pukwudgies, and the horned snake basilisk. Then, fuck.
captivated her most.
Well, now that I know what they all are, I might go Pukwudgie. I don't know. Maybe the wampus. Maybe
Was a
wampus.
great
Give
horned
me a
river
cat.
serpent. Its forehead
No, I don't know. Thunderbird's still pretty cool.
adorned with a luminous gem, residing in a nearby creek. Even William trembled at its presence, but to his astonishment, the serpent seemed to regard
That is the horned serpent. Okay, it was not a basilisk then.
Isolde with curiosity rather than hostility.
Like,
More
this is weird. You're a snake, but you have 2 legs. I don't understand this.
astonishing still, she claimed to understand the creature's subtle voice, as though it spoke directly into her
Okay, so she is a parcel tongue. Yeah, that's fair.
mind. She quickly learned to keep these revelations to herself.
Man, that's funny though, because like Tom Riddle swore up and down he was the heir of Slytherin. Meanwhile, the heir of Slytherin's probably some fucked up kid in America.
Visiting the creek alone in secret. Its message was cryptic, yet insistent. As long as I am part of your family, it will remain in peril. Isolde had no family, save for Gormla, still in Ireland, and she could not decipher the serpent's meaning, nor tell if its words were real or a trick of her imagination. Yet an instinct, deep within her, whispered that this extraordinary being and its warning were bound to her fate,
Okay.
intertwining her destiny with the hidden magic of this untamed land. The days passed swiftly, painted with a tranquility Isolde had not known since Ilvermorny. Yet even in the forest's quiet, a taut vigilance lingered, a remnant of years under her aunt's ruthless tutelage and the constant awareness that danger could strike at any moment. One afternoon, while foraging with William, a grisly noise shattered the calm.
Oh, it's
The very hide-behind
Spectre.
that had once nearly slain the Pukwudgie loomed over a horrific scene. 2 humans lay dead, grotesquely twisted, while 2 small boys, battered, terrified, barely clinging to life, cowered as the creature prepared to claim more victims. Instinct
That poor thing. She looks angry, bro.
surged in Isolde. Every lesson, every punishment, every moment of pain had
Oh, no, listen, Mr. Spectre, sir, this is not about you.
forged her into a witch capable of facing this nightmare. Together with William, she unleashed her magic with precision. The hide-behind shrieked and fled,
I'm surprised it's breathing still, honestly.
perhaps finally defeated. William, seemingly indifferent, returned to picking blackberries, ignoring the faint cries of the children. Isolde rushed to the boys, determined to save them as her mother would have done. When she called for William's aid, he regarded her with scorn. To him, humans were as good as dead.
That's because of the bigotry. Don't worry, we'll learn you, William. You'll get it. It's okay.
She alone was the
Listen to the Morrigan. Become the Morrigan.
exception. The witch who had once saved his life. Outraged, Isolt's voice rang sharp through the clearing.
You will repay your debt. Help me now.
Ooh, get him.
Begrudgingly, William complied, grumbling all the
I bet
while.
he did.
Together they carried the boys to safety, each step weighted with the peril they had narrowly escaped. At last, they reached the shelter. Isolt's chest heaved with grief and fury, her heart heavy at the betrayal of what she had hoped would be her first and only friend. She turned to William, her gaze a storm of sorrow and scorn.
I have no further need of you.
She said, her voice low but deadly. The Pukwudgie grumbled, his eyes flashing briefly, before vanishing into the woods, leaving Isolt alone with the children, and the bitter knowledge that some bonds, once shattered, never mend.
Damn.
Isolde had sacrificed her only companion, William, to save 2 small boys, and by some miracle, they survived. Chadwick and Webster were weak and feverish.
Chadwick and Webster. Those are some American boys if I've ever fucking heard names.
Yet unmistakably magical. Their essence
Meanwhile, Isolt Gaunt, right? Like, come on.
humming with the energy that had once coursed through their parents. Their family had arrived in America, seeking adventure, only for tragedy to strike in the forest. For weeks, the boys were too fragile to be left alone. Isolde watched over them ceaselessly, nursing them back to health.
Easy now.
All while haunted by the knowledge that their parents lay unburied.
You'll be strong.
When Chadwick and Webster were finally strong enough to be left unattended, Isolde returned to prepare graves for the Boots, a small refuge, however modest, that the boys might one day visit. To her surprise, she found another figure there, James Stewart, from the Plymouth settlement, who had ventured into the woods searching for the family he had befriended, unaware of the horror that had occurred.
Oh, and they're gonna blame her for... Oh, no.
James worked quietly, marking the shallow graves and gathering the broken wands beside the deceased. A careless wave of Mr. Boots' wand sent a spark into the air, and as often happens with a no-mage, it reacted violently. James was flung backwards, colliding with a tree, and fell unconscious.
Uh-oh.
When he awoke, he found himself in a small shelter of branches and animal skins, tended by Isolde.
Hey, you.
How could she have hidden what she was?
Finally awake.
There was no concealing her magic, from brewing healing draughts to hunting with a wand in hand. She had intended, once his concussion had passed, to obliviate him and send
I can't believe Obliviate is an actual spell right now.
him back to
Well, no, I guess that's fair. This is not Hogwarts, so okay,
Plymouth,
fair.
preserving the secrecy of her kind. For if there was one thing she had learned in Ireland, it was that, however deserving of respect Muggles might be, the truth of magic was something they rarely understood and often feared. And yet, quite unexpectedly, during those days, James became a source of quiet companionship and comfort.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I wake up in a witch's like hut and she isn't trying to eat me and just trying to take care of me and wants to be friends, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be friends. What? Listen, I might be a no-mage, but I can brew a potion still.
He was a kind man, steady, curious, and unafraid. For Isolde, it was extraordinary to have someone with whom she could share her thoughts, her story. Someone who had already grown fond of the Boot Boys and helped to entertain them as they slowly recovered their strength.
I'll help you.
In gratitude, James, who had once been a stonemason in England,
did he fix up
helped
her
her
house?
design a modest stone house.
Modest my ass. That is 3 stories, bro.
Atop Mount Greylock.
Sure, you can call these pieces of all white meat chicken breaded and tortilla chips nuggets, even though they're nothing like the nuggets.
With his plan
God, listen. I want everybody to pause the fucking video right now. Look at this house. Modest my... Look, Liz. Look at this fucking house. Modest my ass, dude. What?
and her magic, the dwelling rose in the span of an afternoon. Isolde named it Ilvermorny, after the little cottage where she had been born, and which Gormla had destroyed.
So that's the beginning of her school. Okay. See, that's what I thought they did with Hogwarts, but with Hogwarts it was 4 of them and they just built a big-ass castle right then.
Each day, Isolde swore she would soon erase James's memory, and each day he seemed to fear magic a little less, until at last it seemed simpler and far truer to admit that they had fallen in love, marry, and be done with it. Isolde and James came to think of the Boot Boys as their own sons.
Well, I mean, given that their families are dead, yeah, probably.
In the quiet evenings by the hearth, Isolde told them tales of a distant castle in the Scottish Highlands, stories of magic and wonder she had once overheard from Gormla. To Chadwick and Webster, Hogwarts was a dream painted in words, towers veiled in mist, moving staircases, enchanted feasts, and then Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, names that rolled like spells from another world. Again and again, they asked why they could not return to Ireland to await their letters.
Why?
Isolde could not tell them the truth of Gormla. Instead, she promised that when they turned 11, she would find them wands, their parents long broken, and together they would found a school of their own.
Oh.
There, on the mountain.
Okay, so Ilvermorny was a school that she built for her 2 adopted sons. Okay.
The notion set their imaginations alight. 4 houses.
I wonder, well, so their parents were wizards, so the Boot Boys probably are, and then James is the only muggle, right?
Were needed, of course, and naming them after themselves was quickly dismissed.
Who would ever want to win for House Webster Boot?
Webster had exclaimed. Each chose a creature instead,
That's fair.
one that mirrored their heart. Chadwick, quick-witted yet tempestuous,
Yeah, get
chose
that
the
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird, whose wings could summon storms. Webster, brave and fiercely loyal, the Wampus, swift and untamable. Isolde, the Horned Serpent, guardian of the river, whose whisper she still heard in her dreams. When it came to James, the only no-mage among them, he hesitated. Finally, he smiled.
Then I shall take the Puckwudgie.
For the tales of the grumbling William never failed to make him laugh. And so, the 4 houses of Ilvermorny were born, playful yet profound, carrying the spirit of those who named them. What began as a family's fancy would, in time, become the heart of a legend.
Damn.
As Chadwick's 11th birthday drew near, Isolde found herself troubled by a promise she did not know how to keep.
Chad's wand.
She had vowed to craft him a wand, yet as far as she knew, the wand she had stolen from Gormla was the only one in all of America. She dared not dissect it to learn its secrets. And when she examined the remains of the Boots' wands, their dragon heartstring and unicorn hair cores had long since withered to dust.
That's fair.
On the eve of the boy's birthday, sleep came to her at last, and with it, a dream. She saw herself walking down to the creek under a silver moon. The Horned Serpent rose from the water, vast and silent, its jewel gleaming in the darkness. It bowed its head before her, and she, with trembling hands, shaved a slender shard from its horn. Isolde woke before dawn, heart pounding. Drawn by something older than reason, she went to the creek, and there, just as in her dream, the Horned Serpent was waiting. It lifted its head, regal and unafraid. She took what it freely offered, whispered thanks, and carried the fragment home through the hush of morning. James was roused from sleep to find his wife standing by the hearthlight, clutching the precious piece of horn. Together they set to work, her with the knowledge of magic, him with the hands of a craftsman. When Chadwick awoke, the first light of dawn creeping across the floor, a wand lay by his bedside, finely carved from prickly ash, the serpent's horn running through its core. It thrummed faintly.
An ash wand with a serpent's horn core. I don't know how powerful this is, but this horned serpent with like a jewel in its fucking head seems to be a pretty powerful magical creature.
In his grasp, alive, aware. And Isolde and James knew they had wrought something extraordinary.
Happy birthday.
By the time Webster turned 11, word of the little school atop Mount Greylock had begun to spread. What had begun as a home for two orphaned boys was quietly becoming something greater. Two young wizards from the Wampanoag tribe arrived first, followed by a mother and her daughters from the Narragansett, eager to share their ancient knowledge and learn the craft of wandwork.
Oh, they didn't know how to make wands, and so
Each received a wand,
My lady,
lovingly fashioned by Isolde and James.
a gift.
Yet Isolde knew, deep within her, that the horn of the serpent belonged only to Chadwick and Webster. For the others, she and James worked with new materials: strands of wampus hair, sinews of the snallygaster, antlers of the jackalope, each core a bridge between worlds of magic. By 1634, the cottage had grown.
So you can use pretty much anything for a wand core. It's just that over in London, in England, for Hogwarts, they typically stick with the big three, I guess, because they're the most powerful.
Beyond recognition. Stone walls.
Or, well, the most powerful that they know of. Basilisk Horn is more powerful than all three of them, but that's harder to come by.
James had laid by hand had
Can't really industrialize Basilisk Horn, you know what I mean?
reshaped themselves, as if the building shared in the family's quiet magic. Children's laughter now echoed through the halls, and Webster's dream of house competitions became a joyful reality. Ilvermorny was still small, known only among the native tribes and a few wandering settlers. Yet when dusk fell upon the mountain, the family remained. Isolde and James, their sons Chadwick and Webster, and the twin daughters Martha and Rhiannak. A modest home, yes, yet within its walls it had become the soul of the new wizarding world, where magic and love grew undisturbed.
Nice.
Far above the quiet slopes of Mount
Fucking
Greylock,
buffalo.
peace reigned over Ilvermorny. The days were filled with laughter and learning, the gentle rhythm of a family who believed themselves safe. Yet beyond the ocean, in the old country, a whisper began to spread of a new school of witchcraft and wizardry in the new world. They said its headmistress was named Morrigan, like the legendary Irish animagus witch of old. But when Gormla Gaunt learned the school's true name, Ilvermorny, her blood ran cold. There could be no mistake. Her wayward niece had escaped her grasp.
Yes, she did.
Married not merely a muggle-born, but a muggle himself, and, worst of all, dared to teach magic to anyone who possessed even a flicker of it. Fury, old and poisonous, rekindled in her heart. She had purchased
I can't believe she's still alive.
a wand from the despised Ollivanders, a poor substitute for the heirloom Isolde had stolen, and set out to cross the sea. To ensure her niece would not sense her approach, the dark witch disguised herself as a man, taking in a final act of cruelty the name William Sayre, the very name of the father she had murdered. Under this false guise, she boarded the Bonaventure, bound for the
Damn
new
it.
world. Her voyage was long and bitter, her hatred the only warmth she carried.
Hey Stormy, how's it going? Unfortunately, you came in at the end again. Honestly, this was the last thing I was going to be covering. We went over Ravenclaw today. We went over some crap that's happening in California, and now we're covering Ilvermorny, the American wizarding school, which has a crazy history.
Landing in Virginia, she traveled north in secret, through snow and shadow, until at last, on a winter's night, she stood upon the slopes of Grey Loch.
Oh my god, just kill this bitch already, man, for real.
Before her rose the new Ilvermorny, strong, proud.
But yeah, Stormy, I usually start streaming at 8 p.m. Central or 8 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. I don't know where you're from.
Defiant. The sight filled her not with wonder, but with loathing. Raising her wand, she spoke a curse as dark as her heart. The spell struck the house, and within its walls, Isolde and James fell into an enchanted slumber, their laughter silenced in an instant. Then, in a low hiss, Lady Gaunt spoke a single word in Parseltongue. Across the quiet room, the wand that had served Isolde so faithfully quivered once, upon the bedside table, and fell still.
I understand. I worked night shift for like 2 years before I got the job that I currently have. So no, I get it. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal.
She had never known the truth of it, that she wielded the wand of Salazar Slytherin himself. The artifact, sentient and obedient to its master's will, followed its ancient instruction. It fell into dormancy. Now, none could awaken it, save for its true mistress. What Gormla did not know was that 2 occupants of the house had remained untouched by her dark spell.
Because of the horned serpent's wands, baby. Fuck yeah.
16-year-old Chadwick and 14-year-old Webster.
Yeah, I want to point that out. So the names of children in the quote-unquote New World in Harry Potter are Chadwick and Webster, right? Like, aren't those just some American-ass names? Like, come on now. Their mom's name is Iseult.
She could not have anticipated the secret power within their wands.
No, she could not.
Unlike Iseult's, theirs did not fall silent at Parseltongue. Instead, their cores thrummed in response, emitting a low, resonant note, the warning cry of the horned serpent. The boys awoke instantly, leaping from their beds.
Jeez.
The young wizard's eyes went to the window, where Lady Gaunt moved stealthily.
I am so pissed off that Disney denied us the opportunity to be able to actually go around and see these magical creatures, right? Like, with the whole Fantastic Beasts franchise, they could have done that. They could have taken the audience on a tour around the Wizarding World and introduced us to all of the literal fantastic beasts that exist. Like, I don't know. I didn't know anything about this horned serpent. I assumed it was a basilisk until they fucking showed me. This is wild, man.
Through the trees, creeping toward the house. Though only 16, Chadwick had understood more than his adoptive parents realized. They had believed him shielded from Iseult's past, but he had overheard pieces of her story. And in his dreams, the figure of a cloaked, creeping witch had haunted him. Now that nightmare had stepped into the moonlight.
Webster, wake them!
The boy called, racing downstairs. There was only one choice: confront the dark witch before...
Yeah, so the first Fantastic Beast was actually about, like, these different magical creatures and how they're not dangerous, and then it kind of devolved into Grindelwald because they needed some drama, and then they introduced Dumbledore, and then so like the Crimes of Grindelwald and then Secrets of Dumbledore just kind of took over that whole franchise, and they really could have been their own movies, their own little things, right? We could have done a whole Dumbledore life story as its own fucking franchise, and left Newt Scamander to actually take the audience around to visit the creatures. But yes, no, essentially that's the one about the homos, yeah.
Before she could enter the house where his family slept. Lady Gaunt, taken by surprise, initially underestimated the young wizard, but he met her curses with instinct and skill, parrying spell after spell. The duel was fierce, crackling with magic. Within minutes, the witch, far older and stronger, realized he had been exceptionally well taught. She hurled curses with deadly precision, driving him back toward the house. Yet even as she tested him, she coldly inquired about his parentage, declaring she would be loath to slay a pureblood of such potential. Then Webster came to his brother's aid. He had tried in vain to awaken Iseult and James, and now he dueled alongside Chadwick.
Yeah, 2v1, baby, fuck her up. Yeah, give her the old spit roast.
The twin cores of the Boot Boys' wands, wielded together, amplified their power tenfold. Still, the old witch's magic was formidable, her curses precise and ruthless. The duel escalated, the very air trembling with energy. The dark witch laughed, venomous and cruel, promising mercy if they proved themselves pureblood, while the brothers fought desperately to keep her from reaching their family. They were driven back into Ilvermorny itself. Walls cracked, windows splintered, yet inside, Iseult and James remained trapped in the sleep of enchantment, until the cries of the baby girls upstairs pierced the silence, raw and terrified.
There's babies upstairs? What? Okay, we're good.
It was this pure, untainted fear that broke the witch's spell. Rage and power could not stir the adults, but the desperate wails of their daughters shattered the charm, revealing a weakness Lady Gaunt had never accounted for: the strength of love.
Yeah, that was Voldemort's problem too, wasn't it? Yeah, that's fair.
Iseult screamed at James to shield the girls, but before she could move, Gormla was upon them, emerging from the shadows like a living nightmare. Salazar Slytherin's wand quivered in her hand, and then, to her mounting horror, lay utterly inert, as though the centuries of magic it held had abandoned her. The dark witch's cold, triumphant laughter filled the room, echoing off the walls, as the trio instinctively braced themselves, defensive rather than retreating, toward the desperate wails of her great nieces. James planted himself before the cribs, unwavering, a wall of flesh.
God damn it. Wait, hold on. Is this going to be the same thing that happened with, like, Lily and Harry, where she's going to try and kill him, but because he sacrificed himself, she's going to get rebounded and, like, die? Is that what's going to happen?
Isolt's cry shattered the air, raw and ragged, each syllable soaked in anguish. William! She screamed, her voice breaking, carrying the weight of grief, rage, and a mother's terror. A desperate invocation for the father she had lost, for the strength she needed, for a savior she prayed would come.
But never did.
Then...
William! Oh my God, he's back! He didn't abandon her after all.
A sudden clatter at the window. Moonlight was swallowed by a dark shape as William the Puckwudgie appeared. Arrow nocked, trembling with deadly precision. Before the witch could react, the poisoned tip struck true. Her unearthly scream tore through the countryside.
Taken out by an arrow. Fuck yeah.
Centuries of dark enchantments, meant to make her invincible, reacted violently to the venom. Her body became brittle, solid as coal, then shattered into 1,000 fragments. The wand fell.
She didn't kill the dad, though, right? He's still alive? James is still here?
All that remained of Gorm le Gaunt was a pile of smoking dust.
Fuck yeah.
A charred stick and a twisted dragon heartstring.
It is kind of funny, though, that all that remained of her is, like, dust and coal, because she fucking set her sister's house on fire and burned Isolt's family alive.
William had saved them all. He offered nothing but a grumble, offended that Isolt had neglected
Oh yeah, Stormy, you missed a lot.
To speak his name for 10 years, calling on him only in mortal fear. Isolt said nothing. She had been invoking a different William.
Thank you.
James, delighted to meet the legendary Puckwudgie, shook his hand, and perhaps unwisely, expressed gratitude for the house named in his honor.
It's an honor to meet you.
It is said
Perhaps unwisely? Why the fuck would that be unwise? What?
flattery softened the curmudgeonly heart. The next day,
Good.
William moved his family of Puckwudgies into Ilvermorny.
Good. Fuck yeah.
Complaining as usual, they repaired the damage the Dark Witch had wrought, and William negotiated a retainer in gold, declaring the wizards too dim to protect themselves, and insisting he and his kin act as both security and maintenance for the fledgling.
Yeah, no, when I started this, I just assumed it was going to be Harry Potter with guns. But, you know, honestly, this is just after the 14th century, so the fact that they don't have guns is fine. This is Harry Potter with bows and arrows. That's what we got right now. And you know what? It's the closest thing that we're probably going to get.
School.
For the good of the school.
Slytherin's wand lay dormant, silenced by Gormla's parcel-tongue curse. Isolt, unable to speak the language,
Yeah, no, we don't have magic, but I got these hands.
felt no desire to wield the relic of her unhappy childhood. Together with James, she buried it beyond Ilvermorny's grounds,
Back to the earth.
letting the earth reclaim what had caused her so much pain. Within a year, something extraordinary grew from the soil.
Hold on, what
A
the
tree
fuck?
of dark, glistening snakewood, unlike anything the New World had seen. No pruning, no effort could impede its growth. Over time, its leaves revealed potent medicinal qualities, a quiet testament to the wand's
Well, no, so no, the 14th century would be like the 1300s, so this would be probably the early 1400s.
enduring legacy. Even in exile,
Because 0 to 100 was the first.
Slytherin's power held both nobility and menace, and perhaps in some mysterious way, its finest part had found a new home in America. In the decades that followed, Ilvermorny's reputation grew as quietly and inexorably as ivy on granite walls.
Good.
Isolt's modest cottage expanded into a castle, towers stretching proudly skyward. More teachers arrived, and Isolt and James remained joint headmistress and headmaster, adored by generations as if they were family.
Morning, children.
Every letter of thanks,
Ilvermorny's first headmaster was a muggle? Hold on. Wait. The founding members of the fucking Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in America was a couple, a witch and a muggle. And in the current day, the American wizarding community does not allow relationships with muggles. Where in the hell did they go so wrong? What the fuck, dude?
Every successful spell, every student who returned
Does America just like have to be racist? Is that what it is?
wiser and braver, affirmed the life they had built from love and courage. Chadwick grew into a wizard of prodigious skill. His Chadwick's Charms, volumes 1 through 7, becoming standard in the curriculum. He married Josefina Calderon, a healer of great renown from Mexico, and the Calderon Boot family flourished, a cornerstone of magical society in the Americas. Webster, ever restless and fearless, found his calling in the fledgling field of wizarding law enforcement, working as what would now be called an aura. While escorting a particularly vile dark wizard to London, he met a young Scottish witch at the Ministry
Look at that red hair.
of Magic. And inevitably, love followed.
No shit.
Their union returned the boot line to its ancestral home, and their descendants attended Hogwarts, bridging the magical worlds of America and Britain. Of James and Isolt's daughters, Martha, the eldest, was a squib. Her parents' love was boundless, yet growing up in a school where she could not wield magic weighed on her.
Look, she can't use a wand or anything like that, but she should still be able to use magical items, and she should still be able to use potions. And if she's creative enough, that should be enough.
She married a nomage from the Pocumtuck tribe, carving out a quiet, contented life beyond Ilvermorny's walls. Rhionac, the younger twin, embraced her magical inheritance and devoted herself to teaching defense against the dark arts. She never married, and whispers suggested she could speak Parseltongue, a secret deliberately left unpassed from Slytherin's line. Enchantments concealed the school from no-mage eyes. The girl who had once dreamed of Hogwarts had, in the end, forged the North American equivalent. Marble statues of Isolt and James stand sentinel at the grand entrance. Silent
It's not even like a thing that they forgot. They know damn well that it was a muggle and a witch that created this school that is going to teach them everything, and here we fucking are.
Witnesses to the legacy they built. Within, 4 towering wooden carvings, the horned serpent, the wampus, the thunderbird, and the puckwudgie, represent the 4 houses, each embodying mind, body, heart, and soul.
Amazing.
Students are sorted not by lineage or ambition, but by the magic that calls to them, their choices guided by instinct as much as destiny. Traditions grew around the sorting ceremony, and wands are entrusted to students only upon arrival, their power carefully guarded until maturity. The robes, deep...
Okay, things are done a little bit differently here than at Hogwarts, but I don't actually necessarily disagree with it, honestly. We're going to bring you here, we're going to give you a brief history of magic, and then we're going to tell you like what you can and can't do, and then we'll give you your wands and teach you how to use them. That seems fair to me, actually. It's the equivalent of taking a gun safety course before you get your first gun. Over there in London, they're just handing them out, right? And then going, okay, maybe if you want to go over there and learn how to do it, that's fine, but otherwise... You know.
Blue and warm cranberry recall Isolt's dreams of Ravenclaw and James's fondness for cranberry pie, a small, enduring testament to the family at the heart of the school.
Nope, sorry, can't do it. Cranberry sucks, sorry. Just about anything else.
Even today...
Cranberry and grapefruits, like just something I can't really handle, though the Distortion Mountain Dew was delicious.
Puckwudgies remain at Ilvermorny, grumbling yet devoted. One particularly old creature, William, lays mayflowers on Isolt's tomb each year, a silent gesture of remembrance for the witch who shaped a continent of magic. And so, the school endured.
Wizard on Muggle crime is high in UK. That's only because That's only because like 30% of the wizards are casting 50% of the black magic, if you know what I mean.
Yours.
Roving muggle rape gangs.
Living monument to courage, love, and vision, where the girl who once dreamed of Hogwarts became the woman who made magic possible for generations to come.
And so, my dear wizards, witches, muggles, and squibs, the tale of Isolde Sayre shows us that even across oceans, magic takes root.
Yeah, that's look, Isolde Sayre, that is her name. That is a British ass name. She comes over here, she gets a kid, his name is Chadwick. All right? I'm just saying. Oh boy. All of my links will be in the description. All of the links for videos and things will also be in the description. And I will see you guys in a little while. Bye.